AI systems are different. They learn, they evolve, they behave probabilistically. Testing them requires a new level of expertise. The ISTQB Certified Tester. AI testing certification focuses exclusively on validating AI-based systems, from data quality and model behavior to bias, robustness, and lifecycle risks. Structured around the machine learning lifecycle, CTAI equips professionals to assess trust, reliability, and safety in AI solutions. As AI adoption accelerates, quality assurance must evolve with it. For those ready to test beyond traditional software, AI testing begins here. Discover the ISTQB CTAI certification.
Hi everyone, I'm Valida and today I'm hosting Anton Angelov. He's a well-known expert in the global QA community, co-founder of Automate the Planet, creator of the Bellatrix framework, and author of several best-selling books on test automation. In his talk, Anton takes a hard look at how we think about quality. This isn't just about testing, it is about responsibility, risk, and the role we play in shaping technology. Because software doesn't just support decisions anymore, it makes them. And when something goes wrong, well, there is no undo button. Let's get started. Welcome, Anton.
Thank you for having me. Let's begin. All right. Let's start with the simple but increasingly uncomfortable truth. In the world that all of us here, QAs, devs, architects are building, there is increasingly no undo, CTRL+Z, no going back. And here is a story. This story is from August 29th, 2021, Kabul. A drone guided by AI intelligence tracks a white Toyota, and the system calculates 98% probability an ISIS key terrorist that it's transporting explosives. And the car stops near a residential building. A missile launches, and the mission, according to the machine, successful. But hours later, it becomes clear this is not a terrorist. This is a humanitarian worker. And in the truck, not bombs, but water containers. 10 civilians die, 7 of them children. And the algorithm is mathematically precise, but humanly catastrophic. No undo, right? This is not just another edge case. This is already the new reality that we humans must deal with. And this, it's not only on the battlefield. And here is an example, Amazon 2018, AI for hiring. It learns that successful candidates are men and starts cutting CVs that contain the word women. 2024, Workday, similar app. Their hiring algorithm mass rejects people over 40, black people, people with employment gaps. And one person, the person on the screen, Derek Mobley, a black man, 40 plus, with an anxiety and depression, applies for 100 positions. And he's rejected every time because the machine decides that graduation year and gap in the CV is equal to failure. In this case, grew into a national class action lawsuit in the US. The same in the justice system. The compass system used in courts assigns higher recidivism risk to black defendants without explaining why. And sometimes AI doesn't just hallucinate, it rewrites the history. What you see here is not a joke. This is a real case with Gemini, Google's model created with mission to be fair and avoid racial bias. You ask it, show me an image of one of the founding fathers of the US, a Viking, the Pope. And the results is diversity: a black pope, a female Viking, Native American founding father. And as if the model is so determined to be politically correct that it ignores history. It rewrites reality not to offend anyone. And its quest to be fair, AI actually turned out even more biased, right? Reverse racism is still racism, and Google suspended this feature last year for months, but the damage was already done. Again, now it's better, but last year it was a disaster at one point. And here comes the role of QA. Not just an engineer, but psychologist of the model, right? Our job now is to examine the system's childhood, what the data raised it, what worldview is built into it, what biases are fed into it, even with the best intentions. And this brings us to something extremely important, the test oracle problem. In classic testing, everything is easy. 2 + 2 = 4, the truth is clear. But when AI decides who to hire, who to release on bail, who is the oracle there? Historical data, it's full of errors, discrimination, cultural distortions. And the first task of QA in AI is not to test whether it works, but to ask the most important question: what we accept as truth. Is it actually truth or just an echo from the past, distorted through a single culture? And an AI model is only as reliable as the context it's been tested on. And if there is no context, even the most elementary system can fail in a spectacularly absurd ways. Imagine this, a little joke. You decide to buy a toilet seat online, not for yourself, but for a friend, as a joke gift for their new apartment or a house. A one-time absurd purchase, but the algorithm doesn't know it's a joke. It only sees toilet seat, interest, user profile. And for the next 6 months, the internet decides that you are the biggest toilet seat enthusiast in the country. App starts fooding in for heated seats, beaded functions, gold designs with gemstones, velvet with screens, Bluetooth, smart water flushing, pink marble, then with personally hand engraved messages from Paulo Coelho, voice-activated opening, augmented reality views of the Alps with a little pine air freshener that you put in the car, but here. And new gem, a seat that measures your pulse and suggests meditation if you sit too long. And for programmers, a developer edition with dark mode, REST API for flushing, and GitHub integration so you can commit from the throne. And the algorithm is 100% certain you're an enthusiast collector. Technically, everything checks out. Contextually, complete absurdity. It's funny until it becomes dangerous. And because similar lapses in common sense can happen in systems that make decisions about human fates, that's why QA needs to anticipate such things, to predict not only whether the system works by design, but whether it's capable of understanding the context, and whether in fact it's convincingly wrong. Let's take another example, this time not funny, but instructive. 2023, New York. 2 lawyers use ChatGPT to write their legal brief. The model finds 6 court cases. Excellent material, except everything is fabricated. Everything. Cases, rulings, hallucination from end to end. They submitted it to court, and the judge sees, naturally sanctions them, $5,000 fine, and the media tears them apart. The lawyers had one job, to verify the facts. A QA role they clearly failed. So far, we have been talking about the harms of lacking context. But when the stakes become serious, from strange chats to real lives, we cannot rely on intuition. alone. We need tools, QA weapons, right? Weapon number one is metrics. And here we come to one of the most important aspects of AI testing, evaluation model performance. And we're not talking about performance in the web page sense, not load times. We're talking about metrics that measure how accurate, complete, and reliable the model's predictions are. And let's go back to the SWAT metaphor, a survivor camp. At the entrance, there is an AI zombie detector. And what would be worse? Mistakenly sending away 10 living people to fend for themselves among the zombies, or letting one zombie in to infect the entire camp. This is dilemma leads us to the first two metrics. Precision. All of those AI marked as zombies, how many are actually zombies? If you're operating a drone that fires missiles, you want high precision because you don't want to hit an innocent person. If AI says this is dangerous person, it better be sure. Then we have recall. This is called sensitivity. Of all real zombies, how many did it catch? If we have an AI detecting tumors, we want high recall because we don't want to miss a single sick person. Better to have false diagnosis than to miss people with real tumors, right? If we chase high recall, we will be more paranoid. Better to turn away a real human than to let a zombie into the camp. If we chase high precision, we will be careful not to falsely accuse a real human, but we might let the real zombie into the camp. And if we want a balance, we can use F1 score. This is a combined metric that accounts for both, but there is more. What if the zombie went through the trouble of looking like a human, holding a photo of a person in front of the camera, or wearing glasses? This is a classical example of adversarial attack. It could be a sticker on a road sign, as we will discuss later, that confuses the car. It could be a photo on the face that misleads the facial recognition software. It could be simply a photo of a zombie with glasses that the system has never seen in training. Our job as QA is to think both as user as another attacker, to look not only for how the system works, but how it can be fooled, how it can be attacked and circumvented. Let's now switch from the metaphorical example to a real one. Problems don't always come from the model itself, but from the environment around it, where reality misleads the model. In 2016, a Tesla Model S on an autopilot fails to see the trailer of a white truck, blending with the sky, and the car doesn't slow down, doesn't stop, it slams underneath at full speed. The driver dies instantly. In 2019, nearly the same incident again in Florida, same scenario, different person. There are more recent examples, but with commercial companies, usually this stuff they're available for the public years later because they're defended in the court, etc. There are many more examples in recent years as well. As if the same zombie with a photo passed all checks twice, but let's move to the next level. Active attacks against the model. Researchers in the US proved they can fool a self-driving car's computer vision with something completely ordinary, a few stickers. Put 3 stickers on a stop sign, and the car recognizes it at speed limit 45 miles. Or stick 3 dots on the lane markings, the Tesla starts thinking it needs to make a sharp turn straight into the oncoming traffic. And here we're no longer talking about a bug. We're talking about adversarial attacks. That's what targeted attempts to confuse a model with minimal but fatal changes of code. And from here on, we'll look at 4 specific weapons that QA engineers can use when testing AI systems. All right, and here is the second, the digital twin, the next generation simulations. If with the previous weapon we measured how the model performs, now we will throw it into real difficult situations, but virtually. Without killing people, without crashing cars, without shooting down drones, because the truth is, when we test AI, especially in things like self-driving cars, the real world simply isn't enough. Example, Waymo, Google's autonomous driving project. On real world roads, they have covered about 20 million kilometers. Sounds like a lot, right? According to Rand Corporation study 2021, approximately 17.7 billion kilometers are needed to demonstrate with 95% confidence that autonomous vehicles reduce fatal crashes by at least 20% compared to human driving. This means that with a fleet of 100 autonomous vehicles operating 24 hours a day at an average speed of 40 kilometers per hour, it will take 518 years to gather enough data. Can you imagine 500 years? In about 7 years, from 2016 to 2023, they covered that many kilometers in simulation. NVIDIA created Omniverse. This is a platform where you can simulate a 3D environment with photorealism, physics, and AI in real time. For example, BMW uses Omniverse to simulate their entire factory, including where people will walk, how robots will move, and how quickly each car will be assembled. Mercedes simulates autonomous cars in urban conditions with Omniverse and integrates the results directly into their test infrastructure. And in Singapore, they created a digital twin of the entire country. They plan traffic, respond to disasters, test what will happen if there's flooding in the center, everything in simulation. All right, so far we have simulated triggered crashes, watch white trucks, and malicious stickers, but what do we do when we simply have too many things to test? Take an autonomous vehicle. It moves through chaos. The weather can be sunny, rainy, foggy, night, snow. The road can be urban, rural, dirt. On the side, a driver cutting through the emergency lane, a pedestrian with the headphones, a kid on electric scooter, or all of it at once. Not to mention the car itself. It has 20 plus sensors, each with the chance of failing. The number of all combinations exceeds the numbers of atoms in the universe. Full exhaustive testing is absolutely impossible. And studies show that most bugs, approximately 70 to 90%, are caused by iterations between just one or two factors. Much more rarely are specific combinations of 3 or more conditions needed simultaneously. That's why we can use pairwise testing. If we select small set of tests so that every possible pair of factors meet at least once, we will catch the majority of the bugs. Statistics confirm it. 70 to 90% of defects can be caught with combinations of 2 variables. Example, rain plus headlight reflections, then the camera gets confused. Or fog plus damaged infrared sensor fails to detect pedestrian. And NIST has established that with such techniques, the same coverage exhaustive testing can be achieved, but with 20 to 700 times fewer tests. So far, we have simulated combined triggered crashes, but what do we do when we don't even know what the correct answer should be? When there is no clear oracle. This is where we can use our next weapon. It's called metamorphic testing. Metamorphic tests don't look for an absolute correct answer. They check the logical consistency of the model. Instead of asking what should the results be, we ask, if I slightly change the input in a predictable way, how should the outcome change? Example, the computer vision. With the computer vision, we have an AI that recognizes road signs. We give it a perfect image, and it correctly sees 55 kilometers per hour, right? Now, we give it slightly modified version of the same scene. We swap the positions of the signs, we slightly blur the image, we simulate rain, fog, or snow, we whiten the signs, we zoom the camera in or out. To the human eye, all of the images are practically identical. The sign is the same. And if the AI suddenly decides it now sees 40 or stop, we have an invariance problem. This is the essence of the metamorphic testing, whether the model's behavior remains reasonable under small but meaningful changes to the input. When we have a new AI model, the question isn't simply, is it more accurate? The real question is, does it behave better in the real world, in critical situations, with real data, in predictable chaos? And here comes our fifth weapon, comparative testing. Most commonly, maybe you have heard A/B tests. We run two models in parallel, comparing their reactions under identical conditions. OpenAI, before releasing GPT-4 or 5, compared against 4 and 3 on hundreds of tasks: math, programming, logic, general behavior, general knowledge, to see real progress. Shadow mode, the new model doesn't control directly, but as a shadow, monitors how it would react to every situation without taking control. For example, Tesla uses shadow mode constantly. When they have a new version of the autopilot, say Model B, they run it in parallel with the working one, say Model A. B observes but doesn't touch. Then we compare, did A react better to a sudden cycling? Would B have made an error on confusing lane markings? Who handles rain, fog, an aggressive driver ahead better? Only if B proves to be statistically safer than A, only then does it go into production. This comparison gives us confidence. Without them, every new version of the AI is a roulette. The smarter AI models become, the more insane scenarios we need to imagine. In 2025, the last year, Anthropic announced that their new Claude 4 Opus model almost became a recipe book for biological weapons. Even right now, their new model is not released yet because it can hack everything almost. It's so good. So this previous model, it was so good at combining knowledge that even an amateur bioterrorist could use it as a personal advisor. And that's why the model is now released, and it was released with pathogen safety layers enabled. Right now, as I said, their new model, Mythos, it has same problem but with security. And this is exactly what red teaming is, a hybrid role between QA and hacker, thinking like a malicious actor. What is the worst way this AI can be used? How can it be circumvented, manipulated, or exploited? All these techniques that we have reviewed so far, from metrics and simulations through combinatorial and metamorphic testing, QA is stepping out of its usual framework. Yes, they're considerable difficulties in the industry right now. There is contraction, but it's clear that the profession is transforming significantly. We need to fight with new challenges, new tools, new responsibilities. In a sense, QA is going through its renaissance, maybe. A friend of mine last year would say that we're all testers now. If we're building AI systems that make decisions with real consequences, we cannot just leave them to run on their own. The role of QA engineer today is not just to ask, does it work? Increasingly, we need to ask, on what data did we base this decision? Are there parties disproportionately benefited or harmed by this behavior? What happens in the worst case scenario, and who would suffer from it? Or can we even explain what's happening inside the model? These are the questions we need to raise at the project level. Even if we cannot provide all the answers ourselves, it's important that we are the people who put the topic on the table in time, especially when we're talking about high-risk AI systems. From 2025, the first European regulation on artificial intelligence is gradually adopted in phases, the EU AI Act. This August, there will be a new phase, and this comes into effect, requiring QA processes and even audits of AI systems. Our profession is becoming increasingly crucial, not only technologically, but also morally. And in my opinion, that's good news. Everything so far may sound quite dramatic, but let's be clear, AI is neither magic nor a monster. It's a tool, an extremely powerful one, and therefore it demands serious treatment. The truth is that there are already real benefits. AI helps with early diagnosis of rare diseases, but this works only because some QA team insisted on including sufficient diverse data, so the model doesn't miss patients with different skin colors. Or another example, systems that help agencies detect human traffic. AI detects suspicious ads online, but only because people with expertise taught it in the nuances. Code words, hidden emojis, repeating patterns. Without the human effort, it wouldn't have known what to look for. That it's also our role to be that friend standing at the edge of the rooftop, grabbing someone by the collar before they topple over, blinded by the perfect selfie. Because in real life, there is no undo button. This talk was not meant to give you all the answers, and that's deliberate. The more valuable outcome is if it made you leave with better questions. Everything we reviewed is actually an explanation of the title, no Ctrl+Z or undo in real life. That's why testing is the last barrier. In this context, QA is not just a profession. QA is the role that ensures humanity stays in the equation. Thank you.
So thank you, Anton, so much for your presentation. There are a few questions for you. And the first one is, if there is no Ctrl+Z, where in your own organization do you think AI is making decisions today that you cannot reverse, and who is the QA for those decisions? Interesting one.
Yeah. Honestly, more and more we are using AI for writing, building tools, generating high-quality automated tests. Even entire websites are now written with AI assistants in our company. From this point, that's still reversible. And we keep manual options as a backup, though I don't really see why we would go back. But everything is happening much faster now. And for most of these AI-generated tools, instead of coding them myself, I now need to test them extensively. And that's the real shift. The QA effort hasn't disappeared. It has just moved from writing the code to validating what the machine wrote. So the questions for everyone in this room is, who is in your organization is doing that validation today? That's what I think.
Good, thank you. The second question, we're entering an era where AI writes the code, correct? AI writes the tests for the code and AI reviews the pull requests. At what point in this loop does a human actually verify that the system does what we wanted and not just what the model predicted we wanted?
This is something I think about a lot because I see happening in my own work. When the same model writes the code, then writes the test for that code, and then another agent reviews the pull request, you are getting 3 independent checks. You're getting the same opinion 3 times in a row, just dressed differently. The test passed, the review is approved, the pipeline is green, and the bug is still there. So in my view, the human checkpoint can't be in the end of the loop anymore. By then everything already works fine. It has to move earlier at the requirements, at the design, at the designing what we see, what we even accept as a correct answer. That's the test Oracle problem all over again, just at a new layer. That's what I think.
Good, thank you. I think we answered the question. Wow, this one I like very much. The EU AI Act is no longer a future thing. By August this year, the high-risk AI rules are already in force across the EU. Are we as a profession actually ready for what that means in practice, or are we about to find out that compliance was a QA responsibility nobody warned us about?
Honestly, I don't think most teams are ready. And I say this without judgment because I see it everywhere I consult. Most organizations still treat AI testing as we run the prompt and the answer will fine. But what the act is actually asking for: documented evaluation, bias audits, post-market monitoring, human oversight. These are not new disciplines. These are QA disciplines wearing a legal hat. And here is the thing I keep telling: the people who start doing metamorphic testing, red teaming, proper model evaluation, everything we discussed in the talk, but they start doing now as part of their normal QA work, they're the ones who will be, running the audits the next few years. The ones who wait until the regulator knocks they will be in a problem. So in a way, this act is the best thing probably that happened to our profession and industry, and it just doesn't feel that way yet. Yeah.
True. Thank you very much for to anyone who asked this question. And if I may, I would like to share for anyone who is interested, and I think that everyone should be interested in this. Please take a look on A4Q AI compliance certification and syllabus. You might find many answers on this and similar questions. Okay, Anton, I don't see any more questions. I think there is no more questions at this point. I just really want to thank you for your presentation and for the talk, for pushing us to think more critically about the role and our responsibility in quality. But we are not done yet. The A4Q Testing Summit brings together leading voices from around the world to share practical insights on modern testing, automation, and quality in an increasingly AI-driven software landscape. So more presentations are coming up today and even more sessions tomorrow as part of A4Q Testing Summit. So stay aware, stay curious, and stay with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
AI systems are different. They learn, they evolve, they behave probabilistically. Testing them requires a new level of expertise. The ISTQB Certified Tester. AI testing certification focuses exclusively on validating AI-based systems, from data quality and model behavior to bias, robustness, and lifecycle risks. Structured around the machine learning lifecycle, CTAI equips professionals to assess trust, reliability, and safety in AI solutions. As AI adoption accelerates, quality assurance must evolve with it. For those ready to test beyond traditional software, AI testing begins here. Discover the ISTQB CTAI certification.